I was trying to hang on. I was trying to get my life back in order. The people in Boston, the doctors, they scared me so bad that I was going to get sick again. I was afraid to do anything. I did try looking for work again. It was the same old thing. I even went in this program, you're supposed to get guaranteed employment. They found a way to not hire me because the only stuff was second shift. Obviously, I don't drive. There are no buses at night. I could not do something like that. Now, this is second shift in a factory. Remember, I have a degree in Russian from New York University. I know I applied for a lot of jobs that maybe I was overqualified for, but that's all there is around here. Okay? And if I was supposed to do something else, if I was supposed to try, I didn't know that. If I was supposed to try to look for a job in Boston from the beginning, I thought I needed to get a job here in order to get money in order to look for a job up there so that I could travel back and forth. It's not 2 cents. um, so, anyway, then we had issues with the house. All of a sudden, the state was trying to get rid of houses with blight, I guess. And so they were going around looking at getting vacant houses and forcing the landlords to either fix them or they wanted to take them over. So they put our house down as vacant. The house we're living in, the house I'm talking to you from right now. And I don't trust government. I especially the administration we had here now. I know that they were trying to get rid of people, gentrify places and stuff like that. And I was scared because I had no power, I had no money, I had no nothing. And here there's people coming for us, and I was scared that, like, oh, it was a mistake. But the fear was put into me. I was afraid of them taking the house at any time, and that was a few years ago. Um, and then my mom, she used to have her little job, and she had her pension, and she had her, Social Security, and that's how we stayed here. And I know it's not right, and I never wanted it to be that way, but I existed, and I continued to exist because she allowed me to live here in this house with her, okay? And she let me eat some of her food. That's how we existed, and we used the credit cards that I had and that she had in order to pay bills when something would break or when something else would go wrong. And then she ended up getting laid off from her job, and they told her they were going to call her back, which was a lie, and it was this big whole thing. But we went for a year where we had to keep charging stuff on our credit cards, and they were almost all at their limit. And then my mom finally got her job back, so there was a little bit of money. When we were down to like 2 cents, of course I was looking again, and of course nobody was calling me again. Trust me, I kept trying. I did. I took long breaks where I didn't, but at this point, of course I was looking. So then she'd been working for, you know, most of 2019. And then on the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, we had gone to the grocery store, and she went to the bathroom, and then she was bleeding, you know, and we had the people at the grocery store call the ambulance. She went to the hospital, and it was Saturday, and she was bleeding, and they were just going to watch and see what happens. And I didn't understand why they wouldn't give her a colonoscopy right away, but they're like, oh no, it may just stop or whatever. And she's 84, and I understand that they're well, she had Medicare, of course. Yeah, the one for old people, not the other one. So insurances and stuff, they decide what they're going to do for people. And one of the stupid nursing assistant people had said that her bleeding had stopped. It hadn't. She had been going pee, and um, there was no bleeding when she was peeing, obviously, because this was from her bum. She needed a colonoscopy. That was the question. So they marked it down wrong because this person stupidly thought she had stopped bleeding. She had not. So then when they finally realized that she never stopped bleeding, they decided to start her on that stupid drink that you have to drink to get a colonoscopy. And this was Sunday already. So she'd been there for 2 days. And Sunday night, I left her at 10:30. I was afraid. I was very afraid. And I told him twice she looked yellow, and I left her about 10:30. She was watching Novak Djokovic play Stan Wawrinka, and she hates Novak Djokovic. And I came home, and I went to sleep at 1:30 in the morning, or I say 1:30, it was sometime after 1. They called me and said that she had a massive bleeding event, and that they were going to try to revive her, and that I should come. And I went there, and I begged them to keep working on her because I didn't have anybody else. I was never going to have children. She was my only person. And they did not revive my mother. And she was fine. She had gone to her job that Friday. And it was Labor Day that she died. And she worked her whole life. And she needed to work. She was miserable when she didn't. And so Friday, my mom was fine. She was 84, but she was fine. She had her job. She went with me everywhere. And then Monday she was dead because they didn't help her, as far as I was concerned. So I didn't know what to do. I had no money. I had no money of my own. I just had the credit cards left over, and there was nothing almost left on them. I had to use what was left on the credit cards to get her out of the hospital and do whatever I could. I called everywhere looking for help. Nobody knew nothing, and having no money in this situation was bad. It was really bad and hard. First couple months, most people, they handle all that stuff in a week. It took me a couple months, and then I knew she had her credit card force, and then my credit cards, her bill would come, and I always thought if anything happened to my mom, I would have to sell the house really quick before all these bills came due in order for me to have any kind of chance at a life. So I thought I would call the Yucky Houses people or whatever. Then I found out about probate. I didn't know anything about probate. My mom, as far as I know, didn't leave a will. I mean, there's still a bunch of mess around here. There's papers everywhere. I looked as much as I could. I found nothing. I didn't believe she had anything. She never told me. She wasn't the type to do that. So apparently when somebody dies without a will, even if it's only they're a single mother with one child like we were, in the state of Massachusetts, you have to put, when there's a house, you have to put everything into probate. So I went into probate, and so I didn't go into probate. I had to figure out, I didn't know anything about this. I'm trying to find out. I'm calling Catholic Social Services to see if I can get help. Legal aid does not help you do that. So I'm trying, now people I hadn't spoken to in years, cousins I barely know are calling me. My one cousin I barely know her starts calling me because our aunt, who I had nothing to do with and we hadn't spoken to in like 10 years, had died a few months before. So she's calling trying to tell me what to do. But man, she is not the brightest bulb in the shed. Anyway, she had an insurance policy of my aunt's that apparently my mother was the beneficiary of. And like I said, my aunt died at least a few months before my mother. And I don't know what she did with these papers. She said she just found them. But then later on, she told me she had showed them to my mother at my aunt's memorial service. So I don't know. And she said my mother told her to take them to my aunt's landlord, who was also a lawyer, because he was like family, because they'd known them since forever, right? So after my mom dies, this cousin takes these people because she's thinking, oh, maybe you can use this money. And I realized if there was any money, which I didn't want anyway because I hated that aunt, it would probably go into the estate, because I looked up some things myself. I wasn't ready to do anything. I was still handling my mom's stuff, but she takes these papers down to this lawyer who was my aunt's landlord.